Good morning and welcome to an exciting day to talk business. My name is Blado Lukem and it's Business 360 on Spectrum TV. In today's Business 360, we'll look at the key features in the world of business. We'll x-ray the state of things regarding the Silicon Valley Bank and the collapse. We'll also talk about the forex market and all the perspective regarding the stock market from a Nigerian point of view. We'll begin with the Silicon Bank. Shares in banks around the world slumped on Monday, despite reassurances from the US president that America's financial system is safe. It comes after authorities had to step in to protect consumer deposits when the US lender Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, and Signature Bank collapsed. Joe Biden promised to do whatever is needed to protect the banking system, but investors fear other lenders must still be hit by the fallout, sparking sharp falls in share prices globally. Earlier on Monday, Spain's Santander and Germany's Commerzbank saw their share prices fall by more than 10% at one point. Let's hear the reassurances from President Joe Biden.
Quick action of my administration over the past few days. Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the deposit insurance fund. Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. The management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. The
slump of the Silicon Valley has been a big concern around the world and uncertainties all around. But how Silicon Valley Bank collapsed? That's what we have to find out next. Silicon Valley Bank shut down suddenly on Friday. The lender's consumer base was made up of many startups and venture capital firms, particularly in the tech sector. A Wall Street Journal report with Rachel Ensign explains the bank downfall. Let's have the report.
Explains how this crisis unfolded and what could happen next.
During the pandemic, Silicon Valley Bank had gotten all of these deposits. Their deposits tripled. It was a huge influx. And they did what banks do. They took some of the deposits and made loans, but they also invested a lot of them in securities, which are pretty safe. Some issues had been bubbling under the surface at Silicon Valley Bank since the Federal Reserve started raising rates. When rates rose, the bonds fell in value. It's not a big problem for you unless you have to go and sell the bonds. But deposits started leaving the bank faster than they anticipated, and they had to sell their bonds and take a very big loss. The bank made an announcement on Wednesday night that it needed to raise capital and was planning to do that the next day. The investors completely freaked out, sold off the stock, and then a bank run started where people tried to withdraw $42 billion in deposits just in that one day. And by Friday morning, it was seized by regulators. The regulators have responded in a way that they're hoping stems the panic. The Fed said, we're going to be offering this lending facility that's a backstop. We're going to be insuring all of the deposits effectively of this bank that failed. The collapse matters because it could have broader economic effects. There was the risk that this panic would spread to other parts of the banking system. We saw some really significant news with some of the banks that investors were most concerned about last week. Most notable, Signature Bank, a New York-based bank, was also seized on Sunday night. It is the third largest bank failure in U.S. history. And First Republic put out a statement saying they'd gotten some extra money from the Federal Reserve and also from JP Morgan. They're hoping that that reassures their investors and their depositors. the key thing to watch for is the panic.
It is often said that the Federal Reserve tightens until something breaks. In fact, there are many historic examples of financial accidents caused by the Fed tightening cycles. The Orange County default in 1994, the collapse of long-term capital 1998, the Boston tech bubble 2000, and the housing crash in 2008. That is why the market has been concerned about the Fed, particularly as it has raised interest rates at the fastest pace in over 40 years. However, Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation Limited, HSBC, has acquired Silicon Valley Bank's UK operation after the US parent company declared bankruptcy. HSBC, a small business lender up north, and a consortium of private equity firms led by the Bank of London, a clearing bank, had competed for the acquisition of the Silicon Valley Bank. It would be a good time to look at S&P Commodity Insights by Market Movers America. Let's have the insights.
This week, a final blast of wintry weather is forecast to push temperatures in the U.S. Northeast to near freezing levels, potentially fueling a run-up in spot natural gas prices. Stronger heating demand is widely expected to boost withdrawals from gas storage, which could help to narrow a now massive surplus in domestic inventory. In shipping, mid-size crude tanker freight rates are expected to fall as a slew of ships are slated to arrive in the U.S. Gulf Coast mid-month. The ballasting ships are looking to capitalize on a high-rate environment but are projected to flood the local position list. Freight for transatlantic Aframax runs already fell more than 16% last week from three-month highs. PJ Interconnection, one of the largest U.S. power markets, is holding an electric gas coordination task force meeting on Tuesday. Top concerns are natural gas and electric market misalignments, including a need for increased communication between gas pipelines and power market operators to prevent reliability problems like power outages. Finally, steel hot-rolled coil prices could rise again after scrap raw material prices jumped more than $50 per long ton during the March buy week. The scrap market has been boosted by an uptick in Midwest demand for prime grades as buyers battle to secure volumes for busheling. Hot-rolled coil prices stalled last week after steady gains since the start of the year due to steel mill offer increases. I'm Chris Newcomb. Thanks for kicking off your Monday with S&P Global Commodity Insights.
That was the S&P Commodity Insights, a global outlook. But it's time to come back home, looking at the state of things in Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has banned agents from using point-of-sale POS terminals meant for merchants to carry out cash-in and cash-out transactions. Among several other restrictions, the CBN also warned agents against carrying out a transaction where a receipt or acknowledgement cannot be generated. The Apex Bank disclosed this in a circular announcing the exposure draft of the regulatory framework for agents banking in Nigeria. Agent banking is a financial inclusion service which the bank has adopted to extend retail reach across all segments. So looking at Nigeria's perspective, Dangote Cements, Bois Cements and Lafarge Cements have announced the payment of dividends to their shareholders for 2022. In a statement on Monday, the management of Dangote Cement said the company would pay 20 naira per share to shareholders whose names appear in the members' register for March 30th. This is worth 337.47 billion naira, higher than the 272 billion naira the company paid as dividends to shareholders in 2021. According to reports, Dangote Cement's unclaimed dividends stood at 4.4 billion naira as of 2022, down from 4.6 billion naira for the previous year. Bois Cements confirmed that shareholders with their names on the members' register by August 14th would be paid 2 naira 80 kobo per share for last year. This is higher than the 2 naira 60 kobo paid to investors holding Boa Cement's share in 2021. Fafarge Africa will pay 2 naira per share to shareholders whose names are recorded at the close of business on April 6th. That's the outlook regarding the cement companies. The largest oil and gas field financing transactions of about 1.1 billion naira at Oil Mining License 17, owned by billionaire business tycoon Tony Elumelu, is currently under investigation following the uncovering of an illegal oil bunkering facility connected to it. The investigation was necessitated after the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps uncovered an illegal local refinery at Otamiri Eche local government area of Rivers State. According to reports, the illegal refinery steals crude from OML 17 fields operated by Hess Holding Oil and Gas Limited. Meanwhile, findings revealed that some insider involvements connected to the bunkering had been uncovered, and the NSCDC is currently interrogating workers both inside and outside the facility with the full support of Elumelu himself. It would be a good time to look at global economy, looking at the indices among other climes. Beginning with the UK. UK jobless rate holds steady at 3.7%. The unemployment rate was unchanged at 3.7% in November 2022 to January 2023, slightly below market consensus of 3.8%, as the number of unemployed people rose by 5,000 and employment levels increased by 65,000 more than expected. Meanwhile, total pay growth eased to 5.7% year-on-year, while in real terms, wages dropped by 3.2%, the largest decline since 2009 in the UK. It would be a good time to look at the chart indicating United Kingdom unemployment rates. Let's have a look at the charts. The unemployment rate in the UK has shown some slowdown one way or the other. It began in April 2022 with an increase of 3.8% and sustained at that level, dropping by July 2022 to 3.6%, further downward then upward, and went to 3.7% in October 2022 and kept that level still to January 2023. It would be a good outline from an African perspective looking at Kenya's economic outlook. Kenya is set to receive a $1 billion budgetary support loan from the World Bank in June. Last week's downgrade of Kenya's debt repayment rating did little to protect the country from additional external debt. Kenya's target was initially $750 million before being increased to $1 billion. The disbursement under the Development Policy Operation DPO facility will provide Kenya with additional resources to help plug the budget deficit. It would be a good time to look at the commodity market, what the prices of commodities are, beginning with the energy market. WTI crude futures fell 2% to around $73 per barrel today, closing in on the lowest level since December 12 and extending a 2.5% loss in the previous session as a collapse of Silicon Valley Bank raised concerns about a broader financial and economic crisis. Investors also geared up for key U.S. inflation data, which will be among the last major economic reports that the Federal Reserve will consider before next week's policy meeting. Investors expect China's oil imports to hit a record high in 2023 amid growing demand for transportation fuel as new refineries come online. Traders now look ahead to OPEC's monthly market report today, and a similar report from IEA on Wednesday for a snapshot of the outlook for supply and demand. It would be a good time to look at the energy market, what the prices of US crude oil, the WTI, as well as Nigeria's price benchmark Brent is, the energy market. The energy market outline has shown some positivity, slightly, but mainly negativity. For WTI crude, current price is $73 per barrel, downward by 1.316 points, a negative 1.77% decline. For Brent, current price is $79 per barrel, downward by 1.369 points, a negative 1.69% decline. Market is moving fast. For natural gas, is slightly upward this morning, seem to be the only one standing on the positive. Gasoline slightly downward, heating oil slightly downward this morning, and coal price slightly downward by 2 points. Let's look at the metal market. What the outline of the metal market is this morning. Metal market has shown gold at $1,902 per ounce, downward by 10 points this morning, a negative 0.54% decline. Most of the markets and investors are waiting on data that will be released today from a US perspective, as well as that of Wednesday. For silver, current price is $21.69 per ounce, downward by 0.11 points, a negative 0.51% decline. Copper slightly downward this morning. Steel price upward by 20 points, 4,362 Chinese yuan per ton. Iron ore slightly upward. Lithium, no significant difference in the market. The agricultural perspective. The agricultural market, what the price of soybeans is, wheat, lumber, and palm oil. Soybeans, $1,494 per bushel, upward by just 3 points. For wheat price at $684 per bushel, slightly downward this morning. Lumber is slightly downward by 2.4 points. Current price $353 per 1,000 board feet. Palm oil downward this morning, leaving the 4,000 mark, dropping by 61 points, a negative 1.5% decline. Current price 3,979 Malaysian ringgit per ton. Let's move to the forex market. We begin with Bob Isino's commentary. Monday's flight to safety trade lifts yuan futures. Bob Isino examines this. Let's hear from Bob.
Is at least partly a flight to safety. The 3-day move has a total gain for the yen of over 4.25% in the last 2 days. The open has been a gap higher from the previous day's close. Now today we are up about 1.3% going into the New York close. The high today 1.81%. That was 76.67.5. And then the low today was down about 0.25%, 75.13.5. That, of course, versus yesterday's settlement, or I should say Friday's settlement, of 75.31.5. After today, we retraced the weekly move lower from January 17th highs to the March 8th lows. We've retraced 62.5% of that down move. So that's pretty impressive for just basically a few days rally. Now, we had some Japanese data that would have pushed the yen lower, likely if all else was equal. Large manufacturing quarter-over-quarter survey was lower than the last quarter at -10.
Thank you, Bob. Let's move straight to the market to see the outline in the market, beginning with Euro against the US dollar and other majors. The forex market is indicative of some positivity, just slightly, but the negativity seems so huge this morning. For the euro against the US dollar, current price $1.06 equaling €1, slightly downward. The market has been struggling for weeks. For pounds against the US dollar, it's the same story, but the pound had moved up a little from 2 days ago to 1.21 points, but slightly downward this morning by 0.02 points, a negative 0.19% decline. Let's look at Naira's perspective against the US dollar and other majors in the international market. The morning market has shown some positivity for the majors against the Naira. Current price for Naira against the US dollar, 460 Naira equaling $1. It's been a static market for weeks at the international and exchange window. For the euro against the Naira, the euro gained by 1.03 points against the Naira. Current price 490 Naira equaling €1 at the international and exchange window. For the pounds against the Naira is 555 Naira equaling £1, upward by 2.34 points in favor of the pound. Let's go to the parallel market and see what the parallel market is saying this morning. Naira against other majors in the parallel market. The parallel market has shown some different outlook. Of dollar to Naira buying rate is 752 Naira to $1 and 745 Naira to $1 for the selling rates. Pounds to Naira, it's 920 on the average, 920 Naira to £1 in buying rate, and selling rate 905 Naira to £1. For the euro to the Naira, it's 783 Naira to €1 at the buying rate, and selling rate 770 Naira to €1. Looking at the crypto world and the digital currency market, William Questley, the co-founder of Theta and Wax Blockchain, discusses the fallout in the crypto industry from the closure of Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank. Let's hear from William Questley.
Which is for every Tether minted, there's $1 behind it or $1 equivalent of securities. And so the one issue you have with that, of course, is, and the reason USDC had its problem was because some of its money was held by Silicon Valley Bank. And going into the weekend, there was a question as to whether those deposits were safe. USDC Circle, the parent of USDC, said it was about $3 billion at risk, which wasn't the end of the world because I think there was over 40 billion of total USDC outstanding, but it was worrisome. And most people understood the bank would eventually pay most of its deposits back. But I got to say, up until Sunday afternoon, before the Fed and the Treasury came out saying all depositors would be paid 100 cents in the dollar on Monday, we did think that there would be some loss. And so
the price of Bitcoin went up to the 24,000 mark amid all the struggles with the SVB and the rest of the issues. Let's move to the cryptocurrency market to see what the outlook is this morning. The cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin current price $24,367 for one Bitcoin, upward by 139 points, a 0.57% upward movement. It's been a similar story for some of the best cryptocurrency packages, Ether also doing quite well. Let's look at the state of the stock market in Nigeria, the Nigerian stock. The stock market capitalization depreciated from 30.394 trillion naira to 30.239 trillion today. This was a difference of 3.34 billion naira, or a negative 0.01%. The all-share index fell slightly to 55,788.37 points as it shed 6.14 basis points during trading. 179.02 million shares were traded in 4,296 deals, worth 2.54 billion naira on the exchange floor. The top gainers. UPL led the gainers list with an 18 kobo rise in share price to move from 1 naira 82 kobo to 2 naira per share. The top losers. NGX Group topped the losers table after shedding 2 naira 8 kobo to drop from 28 naira 8 kobo to 26 naira per share. NGX Group led the day's trading with 38.15 million shares, valued at 994.55 million naira. We draw the curtain at this point on Business 360. My name is Bladon Kim. Thank you for watching.